In Southeast Australia, HMAP researchers have proved that the abundance of fish has greatly declined since the beginning of the 20th century compared to what is found today, and that discovery has made a huge impact on today's Australian fishing policy.
Yeah, our research has showed that there's about a quarter of the amount of fish available now than there was before the fishery started, and the fisheries managers have now taken up that information and applied it within the management procedures that they use on the fishery.
Commercial trawling in the southeast region of Australia began in 1915. Catch rates described in logbooks from steam trawlers were analyzed by Neil Clear and his HMAP colleagues. They were able to establish an estimate of the abundance for most of the species caught commercially during the 20th century.
You're not surprised, I suppose, is the amount of change. So that 75% drop in the total number of commercial fish. Also, I suppose it's a little bit of a surprise that the different species that were looked at showed different responses.
Fish like morwong, redfish, and flathead have remained common and are still major commercial target species. The latchet was one of the more abundant fish back in the 1920s, but is not caught in any great numbers today. Leatherjackets were plentiful early on in the fishery, but it has almost disappeared by the 1990s. Particular trawl grounds show evidence of greater decline than the wider region. For example, the green field on the graph represents catches of flathead in the Botany Bay area close to Sydney. The numbers of flathead caught in the 1950s is only a third of those caught in the 1920s.
It's only been very recently where we think we've actually got a good idea, for some of these species at least, of what the real population size has been and what's happened to them over the past 100 years. And so with that information, it's possible to come up with sustainable catches for the fishery.
Based on the knowledge of what shelf waters have been able to produce in the past, it's now possible for Australians to strive for a healthy and sustainable marine environment.
The management has taken the results of our research and incorporated it into the management rules that are applied, and we believe that those are now getting close to what should be sustainable into the future.
In this part of the world, this HMAP project greatly influenced the community.
Yeah, so I'm happy with this project. It's been a pretty logical set of steps. You do the kinds of work that you need to work out what data is available, and then trying to come up with a model of what actually happened to that fish population over that long time period, through to seeing management changes that take those effects into account, has been very satisfying, I think.